Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. This is the third presentation in our series entitled Preparing a Director's Package Using Microsoft Excel 2010. In this chapter, we're going to address the issue of importing data. That means we're going to prepare to import. We're going to look at some output for some popular accounting systems, and then we'll go on and look at parsing that data. And then we'll look at some Excel text functions that we can use once we've got it into Excel. Okay, now I better be more prepared for this. Okay, right, absolutely. Okay, so now coming back to our project milestones, we mentioned that this was a 4-part series, so now we're on to section 2 here, preparing and importing the data. Definitely. Now what we need before we start, I actually need to tell you a little tale. A controller once asked me to investigate while his retained earnings in the balance sheet did not agree with the net profit in the income statement. It transpired that he was running a balance sheet and an income statement report at 2 different times, and an adjustment had been processed during the interval, so of course they wouldn't agree. My suggestion to him was to use the trial balance. Then it has to agree, but the net profit is not shown in a trial balance. But we do prepare the income statement and the balance sheet from one set of data, so therefore it will agree. Yeah. The model I use requires a single column containing the year-to-date account balances in a debit parens credit format. In other words, the debits are positive and the credits are negative, and of course this column will sum to 0. You may have a different view, but this is the traditional way that we have proved the GL balance for the last 600 years, so I'm not going to change it now. Well, ever since some mad monk wrote the first accounting manual. So okay, now we're going to look at the MAS trial balance, and when I click this, automatically we have an MAS trial balance. So if you look at this, those of you who are familiar with the MAS package will see that this is definitely, let's see, the run date. This was December 31st, 2006, okay, and I ran it on the 8th of January 2008. We have a debit column and a credit column, and this is our problem here. My God, we have some headings. Where's the other headings gone? Oh, okay, there we are, operating expenses. So we have a problem in this trial balance is that we also have some intermediate subtotals, which of course mean nothing to us and just get in the way. So we're going to have to doctor this trial balance. Let's go back and have a look at some others. In Great Plains, here's a Great Plains trial balance, which I've just got the ending balance in. But one of the problems with the Great Plains is that you get these page headings, and they get in the way. It's often we'll take it to a text file, and then you have the data shown like this. Now the problem with this is that we have, would you believe, 5 places of decimals, and even if, as you can see here, we've actually only used 2 of them, we used 2 and the rest of blanks, we need to do some formatting there. This is not a bad report for importing, easy enough, tab delimited. But the more common Great Plains report is this one, and one of the things I want to point out to you here is that we actually start with a beginning balance, a debit column, a credit column, the net change, and the ending balance. And one of our problems again is these headings in the middle. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Right. Now, our great friend QuickBooks. Anybody here who's familiar with QuickBooks? Stop smiling. Here's a QuickBooks trial balance, and we have a debit column and a credit column. And being typical QuickBooks, often you'll find there are no account numbers, which of course drives accountants mad. Anyway, this is the data that we are dealing with. We have to bring this in to our Excel spreadsheet. We have to get it into a single column with debits as positives and credits as negatives, summing to 0. Now, one of the things while I'm doing this, I have an appeal. Please send me examples of trial balance, but I do not want any confidential information, please. Which means nobody will send me anything. Okay, now we're going on to, once we have the data in Microsoft Excel, one of the things we have to do is maybe manipulate it, and you should, everybody who does this should master certain text functions in Excel. And you'll see here that I've listed left, right, mid, length, or for length, and find, and this type of thing. Let's have a look. I've got here a spreadsheet where I've got some details. Over here I have my data, and I've kept this consistent down this whole column, so we're dealing with the one set of data. And I want to take the left 3 digits of cell C6. There's C6. So I say left C, comma 3, and it returns these left 3 digits. If I say right, it returns the right 3 digits. Mid actually says in this cell start at 5 and go on for 3. But the good thing about any of these functions is I can embed another function in them, and that's what I've done here. I've actually said I want to take the middle of cell C12, I want to start at 1, and I want to go on for the length of C12 minus 4. In other words, I'm going to drop the last 4 digits. So one would expect not to have the 9, the 8, the 7, and the hyphen. So I've got 1, 2, 3, hyphen 4, 5, 6. That is the answer. That is the result of that formula. We can, by the way, you can use search instead of find, but Microsoft allows you to use both. I want to find the position of the first hyphen. So find the hyphen, put it in quotation marks, and look in C14 and start at digit number 1, and the 4th digit is a hyphen. If I want to find the second hyphen, I could actually start at position 6, but then you're going to say to me, yeah, but how do I know to start at position 6? And I'm going to say, okay, there's another way to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to substitute for the 6. We're going to substitute find the hyphen. And we're going to start at 1, and then we're going to add 1. So find the position of the second hyphen automatically. I love the word automatically. And the last one, what is the first 2 digits after the second hyphen? And here is my formula, and the result of it is 78. Now, as I've said, we'll go back to our slideshow, and as I've said, you have to master this if you're going to manipulate data in Excel, because it's going to come in one form, and I can almost guarantee it's a form that you don't want it in, so you have to convert it. So let's just have a little look at our objective in this section. What we're aiming at is to have a trial balance in Excel in the place and the form in which we need to prepare summaries and reports. And here's an example of a successfully imported trial balance, and all I want is the account number and the amount. And if I go to the bottom of my trial balance, you see that it sums to 0 as I have it in my debit credit format. So in this session then I can conclude that we've imported a trial balance in the place and the form that we need to prepare these summaries and reports. And all I need to do now is say that's all for now, folks.